This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms for women entrepreneurs to be seen and heard. This platform is for women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. These are the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they want to build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome to Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast and book volume 3. And today I have Jen Spurr from Jennifer Spurr Coaching. Jen, thank you so much for being a part of the book. Tell us about your business.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. So I have a coaching business where it's a life coaching and business coaching, where I support women to reconnect to themselves, ignite their confidence and power, and consciously create the life that they love. And I also take my almost 20 years, yes, I'm that old, almost 20 years of experience in corporate marketing and branding to support women while they're setting up businesses. And there is a second part of my business, which is brand consultancy, where I help challenger brands and purpose-led brands really kind of get to the next level of growth.
Okay, that's quite the offering you've got there, right? In the chapter, what I absolutely loved is that you talked about, we all talk about the corporate ladder. You talked about having your ladder against the wrong wall. When did you find that out, and how did you find it out?
I think it's always been there. I've always had this little bit of a niggle, and for a really long time, I actually thought I wasn't good enough to have my ladder against that wall. So classic imposter syndrome. That was how it always felt like to me. And I always thought that if I was better at my job, then I would like it. And I always feel like I'm in the right place. That kind of inner critic chat going on. I mean, that obviously wasn't true. Promotions, job titles, feedback, all of those things proved and that doesn't really make a difference. That's kind of what's on paper, right? But inside, that was how I felt. And then I think when I really realized that my ladder was against the wrong wall was when I had all of those things that I thought I wanted. So I had everything that was on my list, but I was thinking, why don't I feel fulfilled? Why don't I feel happy? And it was because it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't where I wanted my ladder to be against. I'd just done all the things I should do and all the things that were expected of me. So I think I guess there's kind of two parts. There was when I had all of those things, that was a really clear indicator that, you know what, that's not working. And then secondly, I think it was maybe 8 or so years ago, I had a really tough time trying to conceive my first daughter. And I think during that, I realized a lot of things. And how fulfilled I felt in my career was one of those.
And you were very open in the chapter talking about having miscarriages, and then when you did become pregnant, it was very fearful time. But how did that period of your life make you look differently at your life, at things differently?
Yeah, it made me look differently at absolutely everything. So there was 3.5 years of trying to conceive, multiple miscarriages, and really long stretches of time being unable to conceive. And it was a really dark time. And I think the key bit for me was that I ran out of hope. I ran out of hope that I was going to be able to have the family that I really wanted. And I think when you hit that kind of rock bottom, it gives you clarity on what it is you really want. So that then when I had my girls, I felt so great and still feel so grateful. And I absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt how I wanted to parent. I wanted to be present and connected. I always say that my North Star is that I want to do the school run, because for me, that's just a shortcut to being a present and connected mum. I want to be the one that they talk to about their day and who picks them up and can take them to the beach after school. I want to be that person who's there for them. So I knew how I wanted to parent, but I had no clue how to do the job that I was doing before, long hours, lots of meetings, the commute, other people driving my agenda, driving my day, and, other people's emergencies then becoming my emergencies, that kind of thing. I didn't know how to do that and be the mum I wanted to do. And I also knew that if I was going to leave my girls for big stretches of time, you know, the whole day, I wanted it to be doing something where, or just something that meant more to me, something where at the end of the day, I felt fulfilled and that I felt passionate about, and something that gave me energy rather than just draining all the energy from me. Yeah. And so I guess that period of time it was quite helpful, I guess, and from a career point of view, in the sense that over a period of time, once I started exploring and reconnecting back to myself and following the breadcrumbs, I could then really find out what it was that I wanted to do. So it wasn't until I had the girls that I started kind of on that journey, if you like.
Yeah, this whole conversation is going to help so many people, because I think that we're trained from a very early age of what we should want. And it's really interesting when you start saying, I got everything that I wanted. I had, and the things that you wanted, everybody has the list. It's the money, the car, the house. It's all the status things, when actually you get to that and you're not fulfilled. That is the time to start looking at what you do actually want. And what you said is that you got rid of the shoulds. And finding what you wanted your success to be is life-changing. But how did it change your life from then?
Oh, well, I mean, it was so pivotal for me. So I don't think I ever knew what I actually wanted. I don't think I'd ever really been encouraged to understand that or kind of work it out. You just get on that treadmill, don't you, of do well at school, do well in your exams, all of those things. So for finding out my wants and my needs and my voice, it was just, it was pivotal. By understanding what success meant for me, it meant I could go after it. So because if I didn't know what it was that I wanted, then how on earth could I go after it? And by understanding things like my values and what lit me up, like, so there was so much around it. It just meant I could then almost live life on purpose. I could, by understanding what it was I wanted, I could go after it. So for me, that was stuff like I wanted freedom in my day. So like I said before, I hate having my days and my agendas dictated by other people and their kind of emergencies. So you know, I want the freedom to be able to do the school run. I want the freedom to be able to have half term off with the girls. And I like space in my day to be able to go for a walk at lunchtime if I want to. You know, I really want freedom. I want to feel as if I'm getting the growth and achieving things. I want to feel like I'm connecting and having really great conversations with inspiring women. And when now I have those things, it just feels really wonderful. I just feel completely different. Yeah, completely different. And I think how you asked that question and kind of referenced about once I had the things that I wanted, I realized, I think that applies to so many things other than just career. I find that often you talk to women and they're like, oh, well, when I've lost 2 stone, then I'll feel, you know, it applies to everything. You will get there and it won't feel very indifferent. You have to start with insides and that kind of inside job.
We know it. If there is one lesson that you'd want every entrepreneur to know, what would it be?
I think it's about self-belief. You have to back yourself to achieve. You have to believe in your goals and you have to believe they're possible in order to achieve them and then take that action. And I think if you don't have the self-belief, it's then really, really tricky. And I think as part of that self-belief, you need to get comfortable with failing and almost reframe it, kind of see it as I'm failing in inverted commas, because I don't think it is failing. It's about learning and self-compassion and all those things. So I've said 2 things there in answer to your question, haven't I? It's self-belief and getting comfortable with failing, and I've sneaked 2 in.
What's your favorite business book?
My favorite business book, which I just think everybody should read, I think this one should be on the school curriculum, The Imposter Cure by Dr. Jessamy Hibbard. I don't know if you've read it. It is absolutely brilliant. She breaks down exactly what imposter syndrome is, how you can recognize it, because there's so many different types, and then really importantly, what you can do about it. And I think for me, it was one of the best books, one of the best books I've read.
Fantastic. Jen, this has been amazing to speak to you and to hear your perspective, because I think it's going to help so many people in just hearing this little 10-minute podcast. They're going to walk away and think, crikey, my ladder was up against the wrong wall. And now I want to look at things differently. So thank you so much for being a part of the book and the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. If you've liked what you've seen today, then please make sure that you click the subscribe button to this channel to see more inspiration and motivation as more of these stories keep coming out. And if you want even more, click on the link below this video and go and have a look at the series of books, Shine On You Crazy Daisy, and get even more inspiration and motivation for you and your business.